on them. And I have, so I thought, why not get go more. And great while people come on. So, style planted tank at the moment. And look at the underneath of my Lake Tanganyika tank. And as you can see, it used to be in here. It's been cloudy for a couple of days, or maybe a couple of weeks. Hello there! I can hear a car alarm going off in the background. Hope that's what's gone. So I'm just showing off my Walstad moment as the 4-year-old. I just thought to pop on for an hour and say hello. So I've been looking at this tank, and it's been been cloudy for a couple of days or weeks since the heat wave. Hello, welcome in everyone. And it's been bugging me because I've been thinking, well, I don't feel like it's a bacterial bloom. I felt like the tank was a bit too stable for all of a sudden to get a. Did have a bit of a heat wave and the tank shot up. Hello, crazy for seahorse, Raina. So I've been kicked out the house. I've been told to go and talk to fish to someone else. So live from the tool shop. Hello, Rye. Cool. This is what I've had a lot of comments saying they love my lives because they kind of pop them on and just crack on with like water changes or doing what they're doing. And I feel like there isn't that many people on YouTube kind of just keeping it real down to it. Kicked out into the man cave, yeah, the little fella's watching the big telly and the missus is reading a book. She's an avid reader. She's one of them speed readers. She can read a book a day. At the throat, like it's been racking my head at this tank's been cloudy for a couple of weeks, and I've been thinking, well, I'm convinced about. No, I'm not from China. I'm from England, from the northwest. Glenn from GB Shrimp said to me, "Oh, that flow's high, isn't it?" And it never occurred to me the last time I'd done a big water change on this tank. I stripped down the power head on it, cleaned it all out and everything, and since then it's settled back. I turned it back down thinking, well, I put it on full and it's all been cleaned out. It was blowing a ton of flow around the tank, so cleared it out and everything seems to have settled down since then. So I hadn't even considered the flow. It dawned on me that I'd flow right up since the last time I'd cleaned it out. So from GB Shrimps kind of saved the day with pointing out that the flow was all over the place. So now I can see the back of the tank once more, or I can see the Vallisneria at least at the back. There's probably a good couple of inches deep at Vallisneria, maybe about 6 inches at the back in places now. And kind of regretting putting the val in here, to be honest, because I wanted something to grow in quick, but then, you know, once it does grow in, you think, well, it's got to carry on. Yeah, I'll tell you one book that's on a speed read is the Dana Walstad's book. It's not a speed read, and I think that's where I think a lot of people don't understand it and then make their own idea up of what she's saying. And I was watching Rebecca's video where she to be honest, sedimentary rocks, I'm not too big on geology, but I've used sandstone. I've heard people warn against using sandstone. I used it and didn't have a problem, I think. I'm trying to think. I'm not very knowledgeable on rock, to be honest. I'm not. But I tend to stick to stuff I can get from an aquarium shop, really. You know, if you're experienced at keeping fish, then by all means experiment. But if you're new and you're worried it's going to be a headache, then just go to the local shop and see what you've got. Yeah, some sandstones can crumble. I've heard that. See, not all sandstones are the same. I think where I'm from used to be a desert, so our sandstones, I think it's a lot more compact in a lot of sandstones. Like the slate down the road from me in North Wales is like the best slate in the world, apparently, because it's been created under a lot of pressure. So but I was watching video, freshwater ichthyology's video on the tank and the Walstad tanks, and you know, I think to a casual viewer, I think that it'd come across that she was giving her a bashing, but I didn't think she was, to be honest. I thought she was. I think all the points she made were valid. Like, for example, she said it's not. It can't really be defined as a natural environment for fish. Now, I totally agree with that, because obviously I keep like Amazonian fish, if that's the way I define them, like angels, geophagus, and tetras in my tank, and straight away you'll notice there's no plants and no dirt in that tank. It's just sand. And in fact, to generalise more, every tank I haven't got without dirt, I've got without dirt. I use sanding because I prefer the look of sand, but obviously with my dirted tanks I want something where the oxygen can get down to the soil so the bacteria can process the waste properly. But I watched that and I was thinking she's bang on what she's saying. You know, for most fish that's not a natural environment, you know, like. And then she went on to talk about fish kicking up the substrate. That's obviously a valid point. You can't. And then what else was said? And then I think a lot of the criticism she had of the Walstad method wasn't necessarily the textbooks version of the Walstad method. I think it kind of ties in with my last video where I was saying a lot of people seem to say things that contradict the actual Walstad method in Diana Walstad's book, because like that book is, I think it's 190 pages of scientific descriptions and studies on freshwater ecosystems, and then it's 10 pages at the end of how to try and replicate that in an aquarium. So only 10 pages of that book, or the way I define it is 90% of that, or 190 pages of a scientific description of freshwater ecosystems, and 10 pages is the Walstad method, if that makes sense. That's how I define it. And then I think a lot of people get the science bit wrong and then give themselves a headache. Because I know, like, and I think a lot of the people who try and make these dirted tanks and discuss them wouldn't necessarily be able to master just a standard planted, low-tech planted tank. Yeah. And then a lot of the plants people put in, I think you could just add stem planted, be just feed a lot more sand with a bit of fertilizer. So I think to back up Rebecca from Freshwater Ichthyology was saying, I think the first thing you need to do is like consider what is my actual goal, what am I actually trying to achieve with this aquarium, and if it's fish keeping, then obviously you need to put the needs of the fish first. Like I only ever keep rainbows in dirted tanks because rainbows like high GH, like high KH, they like a heavily planted tank. So for me it's an environment that they'll benefit from. But the likes of Amazonian fish or like Tanganyika fish, anything like the other fish you keep. You wouldn't catch me putting them in there because there's no, in my opinion, like they wouldn't benefit from it. So you're kind of creating yourself a headache from the start. But I say, I made up it's clearing. Obviously, Glenn spotted that, and I hadn't even considered it until it was playing on my mind, like what could I do with it? Let's go up. There we go. I could sit here and look at this tank all day. Absolutely fascinates me. Should we turn the light up on it? There we go. How's that? Part of me wishes this tank was in the house, in the living room facing me. Hello Mike, how are we? I always shout when people come on. Good to see you. So I just thought I'd do a bit of a afternoon fish chat. Been kicked out the house. Want to go and talk to someone else about fish. I think another good point Rebecca made on that video. Well, she was talking about what was it she was talking about? So she was saying just because in general, like fish will eat something, it doesn't mean they'll eat it in your tank, kind of thing. She was talking about, I think she touched on algae and stuff like that. Now, her conclusion was, if you've got algae and stuff growing in your, and biofilm growing in your tank, then that's a sign that's not being eaten. Now, I've always had that opinion as well with, I feed my tanks a lot of live food. Like this tank had Daphnia and Tubifex worms in on Friday, and there's absolutely no sign of it anymore because it's been eaten. So, you know, I love the idea of culturing the likes of Daphnia and worms to feed my fish, so we don't have to buy it from the shop. I don't believe I've got any chance of, because fish will just constantly eat till they consumed it. I remember that with pea puffers. I had the pea puffer tank. Hi Rob. I always shout, don't I? I never get it. How are you, mate? How's the discus going? I think he went live yesterday, maybe in the evening or the afternoon, and just as I clicked on it, it came up saying this live is private, so you must have been ending it just as I was coming on. I just bought 25 packs of Cali Blackworm. I absolutely love Blackworm. But I think Aquadip don't sell Blackworm. Or my shop. One's got a hole in the head. Oh, no way. That's handy, isn't it? It's good of them to refund you that like that straight away, so. Check this out, Rob. Glenn's solved me a headache. It's actually healing, and I've treated some big water changes. Well, you can't go wrong with big water changes, can you? It can't be big up either. He imports them. He buys them in bulk, and I think applies a lot of shops and stuff with them, so because he's a massive importer. Oh, that's brilliant, that. See, my opinion is, once you've got them feeding, kind of like Joey Mullen said once, once you've got once you got them feeding, you know they're on an upward curve, don't you? Like if they're not eating, like them Rio Nani I had. Yeah, definitely. So, like this tank's been cloudy, hasn't it, for like maybe a couple of weeks. And it wasn't until I was on the live the other day and Glenn said that's a lot of flow with that, and it didn't. I didn't put two and two together at the time, and then it was only when I was sat there and it was pecking in my head, thinking, right, how am I going to solve this? Because I wasn't like convinced it was a bacterial bloom. It must be. I had a feeling it was something else, and then I thought maybe Glenn's right. Maybe I'm kicking up all the mold, the detritus. Well, that's a really good sign, that, isn't it, mate? If they're not hiding, if they're coming to see you, fish will go to heaven with any sight. So yeah, I turned the flow down and it's cleared up. So Glenn solved the problem for me with a comment he made before he went to barbers. Did you have you treated them with anything, Rob? Out of curiosity. Because obviously if you treated them in that, it's an opportunity for me to learn from your experiences, kind of thing, and I'm always open to learning what's worked for people. Very good tank hygiene, yeah. See, that's always been my argument with people who claim that they don't do water changes. I've spent far too many years telling far too many new fish keepers that the problem is their maintenance schedule, to then come on YouTube and say, yeah, you don't have to change water. It's, you know, it's almost insulting, isn't it, to contradict yourself that much. And the one thing I am noticing lately about my channel is a lot of local experienced hobbyists that I've known for years are starting to find my channel. So, and I kind of find it surreal, really, because I just kind of, with all my social media, just kind of started them and let people find me organically rather than promote it. Because I'm kind of of the impression that people on YouTube want to watch YouTube videos and people on Facebook want to see Facebook posts. So self-promoting your YouTube videos on Facebook, unless it's on your page or stuff, never chase, makes them follow. Exactly. Like, I just believe that people on Facebook want to see Facebook stuff and people on YouTube want to see YouTube things. So I think you're better off putting your effort into making content rather than trying to push stuff. I think that in the long run, I think that pays off. I think it pays dividends. Like, I'll share my stuff on my page, but that's my page, but I won't go around. Like, I'll never drop my stuff on other people's groups and stuff like that. Always the fish fam link. Get my stats up, Rob, and see what it says. Be interested to see what it says nowadays, you know, since I only ever used to get like 10 in chat till this week, and then all of a sudden I had a massive spike of views and likes and even subs from it. I've never had that before. Current views none, max views none, max viewers 18, participants none, like count none. Upgrading racks. That's strange, isn't it? Current viewers none, it says 21. Max viewers none, well, shouldn't it be 21? All time max 18, even though it says 21 on screen. Participants none, likes count none. Well, I've got 7 likes now, so. Well played, Fish Fam Link, well played. So you think Jeff was all out to his live chat? Got cloned into another YouTuber earlier. Weird. Wow, that's strange, isn't it? I feel Jeff only needs 15 subs, doesn't he, at the moment, so. Yeah, I appreciate any likes, comments. So somebody hacked YouTube. I hope Jeff gets them 15 subs he needs. He's ready for the YouTube partnership program, isn't he, if he hits that? I've still got some hours to get, but like, I had nearly 6 months out, so I think I'm on almost 3,000 watch hours, but I'm not stressing over it now. Like, my goal was to get to 1,000 subs, and I hit that. You know, a lot of people supported me to get there, and I just want to kind of relax into YouTube. I hit 50k views earlier. Wow. Brilliant. That's mad. How long were you on for, Rob? I'm convinced that I feel like the algorithm's changed lately, and I feel like the longer people watch you for, I feel like the more YouTube. No, not bad at all. I haven't done that in 2.5 years, I think it is. Well, it was 2 years in May or June, I think it was, so absolutely flying. But I think a lot of content creators have said, I think people respond really well to you, Rob, because I think you're just down to earth, keeping it real, being honest with people, and I think there's a lot of people on YouTube who are slow down, mate. I'm a realist. Well, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but as long as we're enjoying ourselves, and I think that's the main thing. Like I said the other week, I put myself under immense pressure to get to like 1,000 subs, because I had really bad imposter syndrome when I started YouTube, but obviously I've got solid group of people who support my channel now, so I just want to make content that they enjoy, you know, and obviously it'll grow organically, won't it? So, but I'm not chasing anything anymore. I just want to make content that people enjoy, and I'm of the exact same mindset now. I don't even really check on my stats anymore. I'll probably check on them once a day, whereas I was on them every 5 minutes a few weeks ago. And the ironic thing is, my channel's grown faster than ever. Here's Paul. Afternoon, Paul. How are we? Let's just want to show Paul this before I'm dead excited about my tank, aren't I? My tank's cleared up, Paul. I was on the live the other day. Glenn made a comment, like a throwaway comment, just before he went to barber, saying the flow was really fast on the tank, and I hadn't even considered it. Last time I'd done a big water change on the tank, I stripped the Eheim power head down, cleaned it all out, cleaned the what you call it, the impeller on it, and oh, it's right. Yeah, so Glenn meant, like, I'd cleaned all the power head and there was like loads more flow coming out of it, and I hadn't put two and two together. It was only when Glenn said that, and then I think it was yesterday or the day before, I was racking my brain trying to think of a solution, and I thought, hang on a minute, Glenn mentioned that there's loads of flow in the tank, maybe turn it down, see what happens, and it's just cleared up since then. But did you do a video, Paul, of Prem? I know that the lads were there on Friday. Was it Thursday? Friday? Can't remember. But they went and they said they were shocked by, because they seen Steve's restocking video. Yeah. They said they'd seen his video earlier in the week of all his, or last week was it, with all the stock, all the new stock he got in. They said most of it had gone already. He said all the tanks have been cleared already. It's like his shop is absolutely flying, isn't it? And I hope that's what happened to for Stay at Whittle Aquatics yesterday as well. Chicken and a can of Coke. Yeah, I haven't got a clue what you're on about, mate. That's it, isn't it, mate? Like, yeah, has he still got them rays? Them rays look like next level, don't they? The thing I like about thing I like about Premier Aquatics is you can literally go in and say, what tank do I need to keep house like specialist fish like stingray, and they can build it. So like, there's many shops you can walk into and say, what tank do I need, and he can build it for you. One day I'll have rays, one day. I've got to the point in the hobby where I always say this, I had me frontosa, I had a breeding pair of discus, I had my Walstad tank, I had pistogramma cockatoides I was working with, trying to get them breeding. And I'd priced up a tank, a 4'8" tank for rays, and I had like a 10-foot wall I could have put the tank on, and I was seriously considering, like, no, I wasn't even considering it, it was the goal, the next thing I was doing, and my frontosa were big enough to go into the tank with the rays. There's a guy on giant tanks you have to get. Yeah. Well, there was a guy on, funnily enough, there was a guy on YouTube, and I was watching all his videos, and I think he was called Max Monster Fish, and he used to do a lot of stuff with the, what do you call it, Josh, he was on my Facebook group. Ohio Fish Rescue, that's it. Ohio Fish Rescue were on my old freshwater fish keeping group on YouTube. He shared all of the videos and stuff on there. And Josh used to like be on that group quite a lot. So like I had quite a good rapport with Josh. But what I'm saying is there was this guy called Matt's Monster Fish, and he had one of them big paddling pools in his spare room, and he had rays in that. And so I was tempted, and he had a sturgeon or sterlet. Do you remember him, Paul? Wow, I used to love watching. See, that's what it was actually. You just reminded me. It was. I was watching predatory fins. I was watching stingray biology, and I was watching Matt's Monster Fish. He seemed like such a decent guy, and everything just seemed to fall apart for him. And I was gutted. Like, I think you can go on his last videos now, and my comments are still there. Like, I was gutted with, like, because he just disappeared, didn't he? He was saying with mixed fish, like, when he went in for his op, didn't he? And then we like didn't hear nothing from him for a while, so I posted on him. And then there was another guy. Wow, I seen that. And there was Aaron's Aquariums as well, wasn't it? Michael from, or did he say Aaron's Aquarium? But I pronounce it Aaron. So, but he was another one. He set up a shop, like a reef shop in Mans. But before that, he had planted tanks with discus in, and that's what caught my eye. And then, conveniently, I was getting nagged to join a saltwater hobby when he joined the saltwater hobby, and then he built the wife, didn't he? He called this tank, was it like a 7-foot tank in the living room? He called the wife, and then he had the other one. He called, was it? I didn't. I seen AJ got flattened though. He proper got bingo, didn't he? I think that's I think it's time for him to consider his options. But yeah, like we had all these people who were keeping rays at the same time, and I think Joey Mullen was doing a lot of ray content as well at the time, and he got bingoed. Got folded like a deck chair. And then, so that's what prompted me. And then there was a guy in my local area who at a similar time got rays, and I went round to his house and I seen them. And seeing rays on telly and seeing them with your own eyes is a completely different experience. But one of the channels had these rays, what were they called? I think they were called snow leopards or something. And they were like white. I think they were called snow leopards or something. They were like £5 each. They were absolutely stunning. They were like snow white with a, I think it was a Matora or a pearl kind of pattern on the back. And they looked, but the pattern was like a different, like it was a yellow, and then, oh my god, they were just unreal. They were. It was like they'd been photoshopped or something. But even the likes of the black diamond stingrays, like, they blow my mind. But seeing rays in person is like a completely different experience to seeing them on the likes of YouTube and stuff. And watching them eat's fascinating. Do you ever remember Joey Mullen's channel when he had he put the rays in, the baby ray in with the rainbows, and the rainbow was terrorising the baby ray, and the baby ray ended up eating the rainbow. It was in Incisus, wasn't it? The red rainbow, if I remember rightly. But it was Dustin. Joey said in one of his videos he reached out to Dustin and was like, what should I do with this tank? And Dustin was like, put rainbows in it, it'll look amazing. But I've never really been into them Incisus, the red rainbows. I always think they look a bit washed out. I prefer the Goida River, the is it the Trifasciatus or Trifasciatus? And it almost looks like laser stripes down them rather than it being like it's like a silver fish it's got that many like stripes down it. It just looks like a red fish. I think that looks a nicer colour. I'm loving these frontosa. I noticed this one here. Oh, bit of flash in there. I never like seeing fish flash. That one there is like the stripes missing over the band over its eye on its forehead. But when the lights are off, all 6 of them have got the band over their eyes, so it's quite maybe it's just a stress thing. But I'd absolutely love to keep these in the house. I've spent so much time in here since these have been here, and found nothing really drew me out to the shed for a long period of time until I got these. You know, like I complained, didn't I, for months, saying that this tank just wasn't doing nothing for me, because end to end it's the longest tank I've ever kept, and obviously it's 18 inches deep, so I wanted to do something with it. And then when I got my tank in the living room, it kind of brought my hobby back from 4 or 5 years ago. And then I just thought, none of these fish I'm keeping are like bucket list fish. They're all kind of stuff I wanted to try and like kind of want to do stuff with, maybe like try and breed them and stuff. And I thought I need to get some of the fish I'm absolutely like mad about. And obviously I kept telling everyone frontosa was my favourite fish, and I was thinking to myself, well, why don't I own none then? If it doesn't make sense to be really passionate about something and not keep it, but then keep stuff that you're not passionate about. But that's my opinion on it anyway. But I reckon Rob's discus, I reckon they're going to look amazing in the next few weeks. Like, never thought you'd raise seahorses. I mean, that's an achievement, that in itself. Like, it's not for the faint of heart, is it? You can see all the blackbeard algae, I think it is, going on the Anubius, and I'm just sat back letting it happen. I do need something over. Like, ideally I'd cover it with something, maybe get some val above it or something, but I'm just watching it happen casually, and I know shouldn't be, but I spend enough time stressing over planted tanks, so just stressing over more plants is like just another headache for me, kind of thing. So it's nice to just have fish tanks with fish that I enjoy. Should we last time I'm zooming right out. Should be there's the one with the time are we on? Don't even know. We're on 25 to 2. God, today's flying. That one at the back looks, it's really colouring up, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to in 6 months' time when these have started putting a bit of mass on and they're starting to look. I appreciate these fish when they get to the point where they're a bit bigger than an Mbuna and they're starting to look like frontosa. That's when these to me start looking really special and different. You know what? I've never ever in my life kept like Malawi cichlids. Does anyone keep them? So many times in the past I've thought I'd like to have a go of yellow labs, and then is it the Mansai? Is it the other one, like the blue and black striped one? I keep them not even 1 year, I know. See, I've always had the argument that if you can provide, if you're at the level of experience in the hobby where you can provide fish with what they want, and you know what they want, then I feel like you can. It only takes a bit of tweaking and playing about, and I feel like you can. You've got the experience to solve any problems, and you can keep anything with a bit of work, and as long as you pay attention to what the needs are and provide them with that specific environment. It's like discus, like when I first got into discus, I wanted to try them, and I started setting tanks up for them, and then when I first bought my first two, brought them home, if I'm honest, my bottle went, my bottle really went, and I thought, oh, here we go, like, I'm just going to have nothing but problems with them, and they did amazing. And then I had another two to the tank, so the tank was technically overstocked. It was a 100 litre tank with 4 small discus in, but I thought, well, I'm doing massive water changes every day, like there was no detectable nitrates or anything, so I thought as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm all right. And then I got a pair, and just kept a pair. Clownfish. See, this is the thing, like, my local fish shop looked at me like it was daft, but I said to him, I found keeping arandas and ranchu alive to adulthood to be a far more challenging experience than the experience I had keeping discus. So, but that doesn't mean in general they are or aren't. I'm just saying that's the experience I had. But I think when a fish is a bit more difficult to keep, I think you stay on the ball with it a bit more. Like, the amount of time I must have owned like a lot of clownfish, and I never ever really paid attention to them because of the other stuff I had in the tank, like the coral, and like I had tangs in there, and wrasse and stuff. So I used to like, they'd catch my eye, and then it wasn't until one day that I thought, you know, these little clowns here, they're absolutely stunning, and I don't pay them any heed. They just live in a rose bubble tip anemone, and I don't even pay any attention to them. But compared to most of the other tanks I've had, if I clownfish, and compared to most of the other tanks I have, they are a lot nicer looking fish, aren't they, than most fish, I think. And the behaviour's interesting as well. When I might have to whittle, I'm not sure, to be honest, but it's what, the 22nd today. I get paid. I think I get paid on Friday, so it'd be nice to pop up with a few quid in my pocket and buy some bits. Between us, like, don't tell anyone on the internet. There was a sign on one of the tanks with a label saying Manica Peru, and that caught my attention, I'll be honest. And I haven't been able to shake the thought since I've seen the label. So it'll be interesting to see if he's got any, and whether I can control my impulse. hang on, I might be in work on Friday, so it'd be Saturday I went up. If I'm right, like all my shifts have just changed in work, so he breeds his own, so would think decent as well. Yeah, I'm hoping a lot of the stuff he's stocking in the shop is coming out of his fish room, because I've been in that fish room and oh my god, it's can you catch you soon, Keith? Oh, thanks for the stream. Cheers Rob, take care mate. I'll see you soon. Hopefully you're on later today. Yeah, like a lot of the fish he breeds, like special, like he had when I was in his fish room, he had these stunning black rams. What else did he had? Like I think he had L333s, L236. He had a pair of checkerboards at the back, and all the fish just looked amazing. So it'd be nice if he started stocking them. Obviously they're not gonna be there all the time, are they? Because you know, like Corey was saying on his video, a lot of stuff you can breed, you can't breed it enough to keep it stocked in a shop. Like he said, he can only produce like 20-30 cherry shrimp in one go, supply his shop with them, and he needs like 200 a week. So and he's like the maximum he can put out is like 30. So and then with some fish like discus, I think it'd be a good example. I think like you can flood the local market with them quite fast, can't you? There isn't that many people who are buying discus on a regular basis, because you know the only thing I never overthought before I fall in love with my pony. See, that's the thing that gets a pair of ficus in the city. Discus, yeah. That's what that's what I think. Like, I find my local shop will start bringing discus in regularly, and the lads in there are fantastic at getting them in, doing a drip acclimation process and settling them all in, and then they keep them off sale for a little while and then get them feeding and stuff, and then they'll put them on sale. And they're really good at that. And what I find is, like, they'll have times where they're flying out of a shop, and then at times you'll have the same fish sat there for like maybe 6-8 weeks before they start picking up again. So it is definitely easy to flood the market with the likes of discus. Angels not so much. I find angels, like my shop, a lot of the local shops to me have said if you can breed a mixed angel, we'll take them off your hands. But obviously you're not gonna anywhere near the type of money for angels your discus. Yeah, I think Corey said something about that on his live stream, didn't he? Or his breeding fish for profit thing, where he was saying that he could get hold of an albino arowana, and it was like $5,000 and no one wanted it. He said now we can get them for like a tenner each, and they flooded this local market with them in no time. But the thing I'm excited about at the moment is, what's the date today? It's the 22nd today, so how can I stock a 40-gallon breeder? What do you want to keep, mate? I mean, like, 40-gallon is what? About 160 litres maybe? I'm UK, so have to try and convert gallons in my head. Depends on what you want to... Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I mean, I suppose my most general advice is get yourself to the local shop, see what you like, or watch some YouTube videos, see what fish catch your imagination, and I think it's better in the shop though, because you can ask the people in the shop, you know, is my tank the right size tank for the fish I'm looking at? But I tell you what though guys, I like Whittle Aquatics opening, for me is like really exciting to be able to document. It's about 160 litres maybe rain or something like that. Yeah, like I was saying with Whittle Aquatics, I'm really excited because I'll get to document the whole journey. And I think that's a special thing to be able to do on YouTube, is to like document, because the only one I know of is 150 litres. I think the thing is, like with telling other people what they can do with the tank, is you pass on, you kind of recommend the stuff that you like, and they mightn't feel them fish, so. I'll tell you one shop that I did on YouTube that I did really enjoy following, and they shut it down, was KG Tropicals when they opened their shop, and it was sad that they shut it down. Obviously it's alright as an observer saying stuff like that. And a pair of angels would be amazing. If you want to breed, I think, you know, Dean from Aquarium Co-ops like always recommends getting angels to, he says angels will fund you building your fish room. But then tanks in America are a lot cheaper than tanks in the UK, and electricity is a lot cheaper in America than the UK, so it doesn't really apply to us as much, I don't think. I think I asked a question last night on one of my groups, like, where do you think the hobby's going next? What's going to be the next trend in the hobby? Because that's a question I'm really interested in, to be fair. Like, I think the first thing, we had African cichlids, didn't we, in the last 10 years? How many aquariums do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 12 set up, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sat waiting to be. If I had more room, I'd have another 5 set up. And a lot of the ones I've got ready to set up are bigger than the ones I've actually got set up. So, but I just need the space. If I had the space, I'd have the tank set up. I think I'd like to reduce the number of tanks in the house and just have the one big display tank with the angels in. I'd like to get discus in that eventually, I think. But then I've got the geos in there now, haven't I? And I really want to breed them geophagus. As I say, geophagus is one of them fish that I went into something fishy in near me in Greasby. Like it's quite a hard shop for me to get to. It's kind of conveniently inconvenient to get to, kind of thing, if that makes any sense. A lot of the other shops I can get to a lot easier, so even shops that are further away, it's easier to get to them because it's right in the middle of a housing, like a private housing estate kind of thing. So, but my mother-in-law and father-in-law live just round the corner, so like when we have family gatherings at Christmas and Boxing Day and New Year's and stuff like that, whenever it's open, it's an excuse to go out the house for a bit and go and have a look. I absolutely love Something Fishy. The guy in there is like really knowledgeable about stuff, and he had black rams in there, dark night ones. If anyone remembers my pair, that's where they came from, Something Fishy. And I said I was after a pair, and he said I'll sex you a pair, and got them in no time. I got them in this tank with my Blue Angels, and I was breeding the Blue Angels, and I set them up in, was it this corner maybe, or the other corner down the other side of the tank with the little pots, and I walked all the way up to the local garden centre, cut all the pots up and stuff, got it all set up, and they laid, and then the eggs disappeared, and then I don't know whether it was like the female or the male at that it, but then the pair of them just had murder and lived their lives at separate ends of the tank. So I thought there's no point me keeping hold of a pair of rams in a tank that the whole point of me buying them was breeding them. So there's no point keeping hold of them if they weren't going to breed, so kind of moved them on. And then I moved my Blue Angels on, didn't I, as well? That was the same time I moved my 7-strike front hose on. It was when the government threatened that they were going to ramp the electricity bill right up. I got shut of all my fish, and then the next hardware store with fish shop is 1 hour away. My work 1.5. Wow. I could literally pick my phone up now off the stand and walk to my local fish shop, and we'd be in there in 5 minutes. Andy's Aquatics. And I've been going there since I was a little boy, I think. I feel like Andy's Aquatics existed before the time of aquatic shops were known of, really. And I don't know, like most of the shops that sold fish in my area were pet shops, and they'd sell hamsters and guinea pigs and budgies and dog food. But Andy's Aquatics was the only aquatic shop, and then eventually they went, I think when they expanded into the building they're in now, they went into reptiles as well. There seems to be a lot of overlap, doesn't there? There seems to be a lot of reptile shops that also sell fish, and then fish shops that also sell reptiles. I wonder whether the suppliers cross over us. Well, Rapashi definitely does, doesn't it? Because they sell fish foods and reptile food. So one thing I've noticed about these rainbows is since I've set this time, since the water's clearer, the colours washed out of them a bit. There's a that laser right in the front of the starting to colour up a bit. I can see like a really nice blue hue on it. And the tails are starting to get a bit of colour in them now. I suppose really I should be feeding them a colour enhancing food to try and get them colours out. But yeah, I was talking about Whittle Aquatics, wasn't I? One of the things that really excites me about Whittle Aquatics is he's really got his finger on the pulse when it comes to what's going on in the hobby. So to see the stuff that he's going to stock in that shop, like really it's really exciting, you know, because he's been doing a lot of research and his finger's really on the pulse, and he's getting the stuff in that the hobby wants as opposed to what's convenient for him to get in. So what? What's that supposed to mean? Off you pop, sunshine. Whoop. Can't wait to get a cooler camera than this. One day. The problem is with YouTube stuff, buying stuff for YouTube, is I invest in stuff and then break it. So I broke a microphone, I stood on the corner of the stand and bent it, and now I can't close the legs on the stand, so I have to walk around with the stand with the legs out. So they see me trolling, they hear me. This tank's like a proper bad guilty pleasure for me. It's like my ideal childhood fish tank. But that pot at the back, there's no Aquadip don't sell dwarf sedge, and I've got dwarf sedge going in there. I've got it in the bottom tank, I've got it in the other Walstad tank in the house, and it seems to be absolutely flying in all the tanks. And what I'm thinking of doing is setting it up on a bigger scale and growing it out, because most of the local shops just sell Aquadip plants. So none of the shops are going to stock dwarf sedge. If Aquadip haven't got dwarf sedge, so hopefully it gives me the chance to be able to have a plant no one else has got. And it's quite easy to grow as long as it's getting nutrients at the roots. I'm kind of tempted to move these Sarasa Comets on. Just keep the big female and then the male that's off camera. I'll see if I can get hold of him. Yeah, that one. Like a nice colour. I'd like to breed him with the female, but the others, they're all males, so I only wanted one male. I've got like 3 more and a female, so. But like Raina was saying, I could set up a polytunnel and like a little pond in the garden and keep hold of all of them, but I think the light will go off on this any second and then start ramping up because it'll go on the timer. So, and it's Tiger, so Tiger don't seem to do anything easily, do they? They seem to complicate everything, like the light on the tank in the living room. You have to turn the timer on when you want the light to come on. So if you wanted to like go off at 10, at 2 o'clock, you'd have to put it on for 8 hours kind of thing. And you can't just sit there at a random time during the day, as far as I know, and just set the timer. Whereas the likes of my Fluval, you just go on your phone on the 3.0 plant. You just go on your phone, set the time, you can ramp all the lights to where you want them. But then it's like a 300 quid light in it, so you'd expect it to be better. Plus, I find the colours are better on the the 3.0. This light that's on here now, it's supposed to be the same as the 3.0, but like 70% as bright. But the colour spectrum looks way off compared to the 3.0. There we go. We'll start ramping up now. I'll be down here for a bit while we're ramping that up. Mad to think that that's like 18 inches of plants, isn't it? And these, you can see the valve here. That's valve, obviously that side's there, that's valve. And that's growing about a foot forward along the tank. And I don't think I've had this tank set up long. But this, see this Amazon sword here? See that Amazon sword there? This one, that one, and then there's one behind it. Does anyone remember the first video on my channel where I set it and I was sat in front of me Blackwater, the first planted Blackwater tank I ever showed on the channel? It was, these were the swords out of it. And in the Blackwater they were in peat moss, because obviously I like to keep all my rooted plants in soil, and they kind of wilted away, just kind of like every leaf they put out was smaller than the last one, and they kind of got smaller and smaller. And then I put them in this tank when it was just like I just use what was it? Aquarium, so it was just like a clay. And they didn't pick up at all growth wise, they just kind of maintained themselves. And then I put them in this tank with the dirt and they've exploded. And randomly it looks like there's a tiny, I don't know whether you can see that there, but there's like a tiny little, I don't know whether it's a sword or a crypt, because the leaves are that small. But these are in like the front half of the tank, and then the back half has got some bigger Pongigetans in, and like I planted it as heavily as I could, wanting to, I was just solely focused on getting the tank up and running, and I wish I hadn't planted it so heavily now. I wish I'd showcased the Pongigetans a bit more, because every now and again I'll see an Pongigetan leaf come through, like a Madagascar lace, and then there's I don't know whether it's Crispus, but you see them on the surface, but you never see them in the tank. And then on this side, I've got my, so that's the red tiger lotus, and then behind it, I don't know if you can see it there, there's Nymphaeus stellata, the other type of dwarf lily bulb. But I love dwarf lilies, and I think they're great for the Walstad method, because they get the roots down into the substrate and then they put lily pads on the surface, so they're pulling the nutrients from the substrate and then the CO2 from the atmosphere, so they're not limited by the CO2, so they can grow as big and as fat as they want. But the thing I find is the leaves kind of, it'll have a growth spurt and then it'll sulk for a bit and then it'll have another growth spurt. I did want the frontosa down to live down this side of the tank. I can never get this because I've got all bits and pieces in the corner on the floor, like my canister filter and stuff. So to get it broke up, I popped a little bit of Val, and these 2 big or 3 big like leaves that are coming up have grown in this tank since I set it up, and then I've got another piece there, but this piece of Val sent it running out behind here, and Val loves KH, and all I'm doing with this tank is smashing it with KH. Obviously the Sirius stone releases KH. I've got, like, as you can see there, I've got little bits of marine live rock that's been dried out for years, and then I've got some shells crushed up, put them in the canister filter so they harden it. And I put it down to that theory in Diana Walstad's book. Now it talks about some plants can use the carbon out of the water column to basically, I think it's a bit more energy intensive, but they convert that into the carbon that most plants get out of CO2. So but eventually I'd like to get, I've got a 100 litre tank there, and it's like a scaper slash bow front tank, you know, like where it's like one piece of glass curved on 3 sides, and then it's like silicone to a back piece of glass. So it's got like a bow front, but like 3 sides of the tank are one piece of glass. I've got one of them, and I'd love to set these shellies in it one day. But it did cross my mind the other day that, like, these are the I think the Frantusa might do a bit better if they were in the tank on their own, or if I got some Lulupi in there rather than shellies. But I wanted something to watch while he grew out, but I think most of the time they're kind of doing their own thing, going separate ways. But I'm guessing they've got eggs in that shell, and then as the eggs hatch, the shellies will get more aggressive. But it's a typical textbook cichlid behaviour, isn't it? Right guys, so we're coming up to an hour and a quarter, and I told my missus it's going to be an hour, so I think we should start ramping things up. Anyone got any questions before I go? Unless yeah, unless anyone's got any questions. Oh mate, I've missed a load of comments here. Sorry about that, guys. It's I didn't realise that, like, after it done that bit of moderating, if we like, and the chat stopped running. Hi Craig, hi Gord, Raina, hi Melvin, who else is in the chat? I'm sorry, I've, like, my chat just sat there. Mr. Kite, yeah, I don't own gouramis. I don't have any Oscars. I've got Frontosa and Geophagus and Shell Dwellers. Raina, Martin and Bob. Mr. G. Hello, sorry, I've seen to have, I say the chat just chat with, pardon me, I didn't mean, that was the chat has just sat where I moderated a clever comment. I'm really sorry I missed all them comments, guys. Right, I'm going to wrap things up, and hopefully I'll catch up with everyone soon. I'm on my back first shift back in work after my holidays tomorrow, so I'm all feeling all sorry for myself today. Right guys, take care, get your sleeves wet, and I'll catch you all soon.